Hello, Internet. Mike Berlin here, back playing another episode of Interactive Horror Stories. I wasn't really entirely sure if I was going to come back to this game unless asked or requested, but there was a little bit more I wanted to play through, so I'm really hoping you enjoy watching. Remember to click that like and subscribe button, and drop a comment below to let me know what you think. All right, let's get started. You are a king who is loved by his people. You have a serious problem, though. Your only child, Juliana, has an incurable disease and she is dying. You hear about a crystal skull which can cure illnesses and let people have visions. It is brought to your palace from the continent of America, but your man warns you that the skull might be cursed. Will the crystal skull bring health to the princess or doom? Your daughter, Juliana, is ill. She's only 18 years old, and she has got an illness that nobody could cure yet. Princess is dying, and she is your only child and heir to the throne. Every doctor you could find tried to cure her. You have tried almost everything. Almost. You have been informed about a miraculous artifact unearthed in the continent of America. It is a human skull made of crystal. It amazes the scholars because no method is known to carve up such an excellent shape of a skull out of crystal. The skull doesn't belong to the world that you know, but to an ancient civilization that has been lost. What amazes the scholars is not just the impossible creation. The skull is told to bring miracles to whom touches it with their bare hands. Some people tell that they saw visions from the future. Some tell that they saw how the human race has originated. And some tell that the skull can cure their illnesses. Those couldn't be cured with the medication available to your era. Naturally, you order your best men to bring the miraculous skull to the palace. It's midnight now. You are in Juliana's chamber. She's lying in her bed, holding your hand as you sit by her bed. No candles are lit inside. Full moon enlightens the princess's chamber, shining on her long blonde hair and blue eyes. She is too weak. Her skin is pale. She has under eye bags, showing her illness. You already suffered the loss of your wife 10 years ago. Now you can't stand seeing your only daughter slowly die. Juliana asks you with a soft voice, "Father, am I going to die?" "I won't allow that." She smiles. "I know, Father. You are a mighty king. I know that you will do the best by your subjects and me." The door of the chamber is knocked on. The servants generally don't disturb the royal family members at night, so it must be something important. "Come in." A brunette boy, one of your servants, gets inside the chamber with politeness. He looks at you and says, "Your Majesty, the artifact has been brought." You have been waiting for this moment for a long time. "I will come back." After you kiss Juliana's forehead and say, "I will come back," she brings your hand to her pale lips and kisses it. Then you leave Juliana alone in her chamber. At the exit of Juliana's chamber, you see Sir William, one of the knights those were appointed with the task of bringing the ancient skull. He is a strong man with black hair and round beard. He wears gloves and holds a bag. "Your Majesty," he says, and kneels before you. You signal him to stand up. "Let's go to my study chamber." Sir William follows you as you walk to your study chamber. The chamber is well lit with silver candelabras. All the furniture are classy. It is the king's study room, after all. There is only one chair. It is for you. You sit on it. Sir William stands by you and slowly pulls the artifact from his bag. You push the books to the study desk to open space for the artifact. Here it is, he says, and gently puts the crystal skull on the study desk. The skull is truly a masterpiece. If it is crafted by humans, all the details of a human skull are imprinted with care on raw crystal. Lights coming from the candles are refracted inside the crystal, gaining various colors of a rainbow. It's magnificent, but you sense something sinister, something that doesn't belong to our world. Now, what shall I do? I'm going to touch the skull. As you are about to touch the skull, Sir William holds your hand and prevents you from touching the skull. Your Majesty, I think I need to tell you something about the skull before you touch it. The day we were about to leave, a native man came to us. He looked like the chief of his tribe. He knew little of our language, but he shouted some words that we could understand. Cursed, no touch. So we haven't touched the skull with our bare hands again. I know that our princess needs to find a cure. I also know that we received reliable information about the magical powers of this skull when it comes to incurable diseases. But Your Majesty, I've got a very bad feeling about this skull. I believe that the wise decision is to throw this skull to the sea. I can't let Juliana die. She will touch the skull. The knight sighs. As you wish, Your Majesty. But if you're going to bring the skull to her, I wish you would wear gloves. Alright, he's gonna wear gloves. You look for gloves around the study chamber. Sir William pulls his own gloves off. I think you wish Juliana to touch the skull as soon as possible. Let's not wait for servants to find your gloves, he says and gives you them. You wear the gloves and hold the crystal skull with your covered hands. Let me bring the skull to Juliana. You thank Sir William for his services and let him go. You carry the skull to Juliana's chamber. You enter her chamber and see that she hasn't slept yet. She rises up and sits on her bed. She looks at the skull in awe. It looks marvelous and scary, she says. You approach Juliana and let her touch the skull. As Juliana touches the skull, she closes her eyes and doesn't react to anything in the external world. You understand that she is having a vision. After 10 seconds, she opens her eyes with a gasp. I saw things! I don't know how to describe them. They were pitch black creatures, so ugly. Their eyes, they were red as flames and they all stared at me. She starts to cry. Please keep this thing away from me. Please. I don't want to be alone. So you decide to keep the skull in your study room and let your daughter sleep. After this tiring day, you go to your chamber. There are no guards at the door. You just trust everybody in the palace. You are a loved king. The furniture are luxurious in this chamber too. You take a glance at your reflection in the mirror. You take pride in how you look. You're a middle-aged man, but you still look as handsome as you were young. Your looks are an important factor that make you a charismatic leader, besides being fair and wise. You wear your nightgown and get in your bed. It is a bed for two people, but you haven't slept with anyone since your wife passed away. You have a secret that you keep from everyone. Sometimes you hug the second pillow in your bed, as if it was someone you love. You do this since your childhood. Nobody needs to know it. It doesn't take long for you to fall asleep. Father? You wake up to Juliana's voice. She gently holds your shoulder. You look at her. She has a happy smile on her face. Her skin is not pale, but saturated with life. She no longer has bags under her eyes. I feel wonderful. She takes a few steps back and starts dancing. You laugh with happiness and stand up and hug her. Juliana walks in the corridors of the palace, dancing and laughing. You and the people of the palace are very happy to see her this way. She used to be like a ghost before. You plan a feast and invite all the lords of the kingdom. A few days later, every lord arrives to the capital city to celebrate the health of the princess. At the feast, Juliana is the center of everyone's attention. She talks with everyone joyfully, makes jokes, makes people laugh. When the feast is over and it's midnight, everybody goes to the chambers reserved for them. You accompany Juliana to her chamber. You put a kiss on her forehead before letting her sleep. Then you go to your own chamber and fall asleep in peace. You wake up to the sound of the knocking on your chamber's door. It's still night. You wondered who dared to wake you up at this hour. It's the same brunette boy who had informed you about the arrival of the skull. Your Majesty, I am deeply sorry for disturbing you at this hour, but there is something wrong. There are laughing sounds coming from the princess's chamber. It's her voice, but it doesn't sound normal. Let me check it. You walk to Juliana's chamber. Like the servant said, hysterical laughter come from inside. You decide to enter. Oh man, I skipped a page. Her face is normal, smiling. Just when you were going to ask if she is okay, she responds, I know it looks funny, Father, but I am fine. Please leave me alone, she says. She stops laughing, gets in her bed with a smile on her face. You decide to leave her alone. You go back to your chamber. You can't sleep. You feel something is wrong. So wrong. The door of your chamber opens. There's only one person who's allowed to enter without knocking on the king's door, so you understand that it's Juliana who entered. Like you guessed, you see your daughter's silhouette. She closed the door and approaches you with a smile on her face. Juliana? She leans down to you, gently pulls the other pillow that you don't use. Juliana is dead, she says, pushing the pillow on your face. You struggle, but whoever, or whatever, is trying to kill you is too strong. The king is dead. Long live the king, she shouts. Why is your own daughter committing regicide, and referring herself as king rather than queen? Doesn't make sense at all. That is the end of your reign and life. The end. This is the only story with the sequel, so I'm also going to play the sequel. This time, you are not a king, but a libertine billionaire in the modern age. Historical artifacts are one of your vices. A marvelous crystal skull is brought to your mansion, and the interesting part is, you can hear the skull's voice in your mind. You can talk with it. It says that it will bring you joy no mortal can ever reach, but it demands something first. You consider yourself a lucky man. You are a European billionaire in his 30s. After the recent death of your father, your mother died a long time ago. You inherited the family manor and company. You are also single and handsome. Yes, you are a lucky son of a bitch. As a libertine, you have indulged in many vices that those we can't mention because of censorship. You have never harmed anyone against your will, though. But all these wild experiences couldn't slake your thirst. You wanted to taste what has not been tasted before, conquer the unconquered. Nowadays, you have a new interest. Historical artifacts. Prehistoric vases? No, you don't like boring things. You own Alexander the Great's sword, which he used for cutting the Gordian knot. You didn't attain it in legal ways, but that doesn't matter. And you seek more. It's a summer night. Your smartwatch shows 1:11. All your 6 servants are asleep in their rooms. That's the way you like it. You don't like being disturbed by their presence at night. You want to be alone at this hour, while enjoying your malt whiskey. You're in front of your laptop in your study room, checking social media. Yes, even billionaires do it. with a glass of whiskey and Cuban cigars. You remember that you haven't checked your emails for a while. There are 6 unread emails. 4 of them are business mails. One of them is from your friend Phil, another rich man. "You will love this," is the subject of the email. The last one is from Bill, an artifact smuggler. "Crystal Skull," he says in the subject. Alright. Read the friend's mail. The mail consists of a single image. It belongs to a creepy clown with sharp teeth and a hideous smile on his white face. Low key lighting and the blood that spills from his mouth makes the image even more disturbing. You have a phobia of clowns, and Phil knows it very well. Reply with "fuck you." There are 5 unread emails. 4 of them are business mails. The last one is from Bill, an artifact smuggler. "Crystal Skull," he says in the subject. Alright, I'm gonna hold off on that one. These mails are from your employees. They inform you the painkiller medicine that your enterprise produces can't be sold in Sweden anymore. You are too drunk to handle this situation right now. This medicine ban is not such an important loss for your enterprise anyway. You produce and export many other products. There is 1 unread email. This last one is from Bell, an artifact smuggler. "I have to show you this," Bill says. "This skull is made of pure crystal and nobody knows where it came from. You won't believe its story." He has taken a photo of the skull with his phone. The fluorescent light in the room is weak, but somehow the skull is clearly visible in the photo. Despite the quality of the photo, the skull looks amazing with its shiny material. You have seen enough crystal jewelry to know that Bill isn't showing something fake here. Let me bring it to your place. What will be your response? So you turn off your computer and start waiting for Bill. 15 minutes later, your phone rings. The melody is "Amato Mio" by Pink Martini. It shows Bill as the caller. "Hello?" You pick up your phone and answer the call. "Hey, it's me, dude." Bill says on the phone. Looking out the window, you see him standing in the doorway. "I didn't want to wake your people up. Open the door for me, will ya?" You leave the study room, descend the stairs. Your study room is on the 3rd floor of the mansion, and open the huge wooden door of the mansion. Bill smiles at you. "It's nice to see you again. I am sure you'll love what I've got here." He shows you his full khaki sports bag. You climb up the stairs and your study room as Bill follows you. After you reach there, Bill closes the door of the study room and pulls the artifact from his bag. Bill puts the crystal skull on your desk with a confident smile on his face. "Oh God, you have seen many things in your life, but the skull is one of the prettiest ones ever." The skull is made of pure crystal and all the details of a human skull is imprinted. It refracts the lights of the room with elegance. Again, I click the button. Okay. The first thing you do every morning is checking Facebook and mails on your phone. On Facebook, the first posts you see are about the suicides of Phil, your friend. He died last night. It shocks you, but it shocks you because he's always been a happy man who loved to prank his friends. He was as rich as you. There was no reason he'd commit suicide. Yet he jumped off the 3rd floor of his mansion. There are some unread emails. One of them is titled "About Phil," sent by Bill. "I know it's strange, but I was at Phil's place before he committed suicide. I sold him the crystal skull and left the mansion. Then I learned that he died. Nobody knows about the skull. I think one of the servants took and hid it." After reading the mail, you somehow feel relieved. Maybe you saved yourself from a disaster. The end. Unfortunately, I think I clicked through an option that would have drastically changed the ending. This is the only ending I've gotten so far after 3 different games that didn't result in me dying. So, again, interesting. Sort of a choose your own adventure type game. If you like this, please let me know. Let me know in the comments if you want me to keep playing, do another story. I have more games coming out. I have a couple other games I'm planning on doing today, and more for the rest of this year, and then into next year. If there's anything specific you were hoping to see, let me know. Just drop another comment below this video. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button to be notified about any updates I make. Thank you, and have a great day.